G'day folks, Two-Wheel Shredder here to do a review on the Antigravity batteries, specifically the XPS, their SC-1. Reason being is I haven't found many reviews. Any that I have found are kind of very minimal in any information and whatnot. So I want to share some of the stuff here, and also specifically with this small one, because it's the smallest one that they carry, and also that it's not the typical standard replacement that you get for your machines. But I'm going to be using this for one of my bikes I'll show here, because I don't ride it that much overall, and I also use it as a track bike, so I wanted the extra compactness and the lightweight side of it. So couple key things in here is these batteries are not your typical lead acid gel cell batteries. They are lithium ion, and so when you get one of these, you cannot use a standard battery charger. You have to use a specific one, and it says use only approved lithium iron phosphate specific battery chargers for 12.8 volts and LifePo 4, which is the abbreviation of what that full name is. And so one of the ones that they recommend is this Optimate that I have here. It's relatively cheap compared to other ones that you'll find. This just does one at a time, and it has different series of testing and just checking the battery for you. I've used it once already when I got the battery brand new, just to make sure it was topped up, and that was several weeks ago. So these batteries are supposed to last, they say, about a year, just sitting on the shelf before they need to be recharged again. I don't have any experience with that because this is the first one I have. However, they're small, light, and very compact, but something that not many people may realize is these batteries have a problem with dealing with the cold. And when you have a lead acid battery, which has been around for well over a century, they can deal with freezing temperatures, and being up here in Canada, they work very well for that, and it makes sense. These batteries, though, won't work in anything. They say ambient temperatures between minus 10 degrees Celsius to 60 degrees Celsius. So if you're in anything colder than that, you don't want to use these batteries, because you can damage them. You'll probably get stranded, and you may end up just completely failing your battery. So if you're in warmer climates, or if you're like most Canadians, where you only ride during the nice parts of the weather and the short season that we have for riding, then it'll make sense. So another point that they say here, only charge within the range of 0 degrees to 45 degrees Celsius. So storage temperatures, they say, to store around 20 degrees to 25 degrees Celsius. So, you know, your usual room temperature, house temperatures is fine. But if you're leaving your machines outside, or whatever you have this plugged in with, don't charge it below 0 degrees, because eventually, I don't know exactly when the temperatures that this battery will freeze, but this battery will freeze, and if you try and do anything with it, you'll end up damaging it, and you might possibly end up hurting yourself. So to give you a comparison, this is the stock battery from my KLR 650, and this is the size of it in comparison to stock. So there's quite a huge difference there. Now, Antigravity claims that this battery you can use for your dragster vehicles, and whatnots for track day guys that bring their high-powered, high-capacity motors, so V8s and stuff like that, or even big block V8s, and we'll be able to fire and turn that over. So it's not recommended that you use this for your everyday use on those motors, but for those who are trying to save space or weight. And with drag racing, a lot of times where your battery ends up needing to be placed originally, and after guys have finished making all their modifications, building their car, battery replacement is very, very limited. I don't have the proper tool. Give me a moment and I'll be right back. Alright, now I got the proper tool. So something these batteries should be good for is track day stuff, especially like I was saying, I use my one motorcycle mainly on track or do little rides with it, so it's not ever experiencing long road trips or whatnot, or draws on anything. I don't have any accessories attached to that bike. But with this KLR, I have a couple accessories. I have heated grips, and I have a RAM mount with an accessory power port, so I can charge my phone, or if I need to, possibly some of my camera stuff, or for my wife and I, or pack talks while we're riding. So something I don't have here to show, but when you get these batteries, they come with a lot of foam pads, so that way you can cut and reshape to refill this empty space that you'll now have in the cavity of where your regular battery goes. So there's one YouTuber I watch, Mason's ADV Adventures, and him and some of his other buddies were talking about these batteries that have a restart system. This battery doesn't, it's not made for that, but they have a line that does have, that is the stock replacements that will fit into whatever machine you have, and they have a restart system. So that way, if for any reason you do leave your key on and you drain your battery, it has a little kind of, I guess, like a kickstart mode to it. So wanted to show these guys like just this small battery and running it on the KLRs, because some of them have KLRs and small adventure bikes, but the KLR has a big displacement single cylinder motor, so it has a lot of volume. But we're going to give it a fire here. So this little battery had no problems starting this here. However, something else that you got to remember is reason why some of these batteries that you have in your machines are so big is because you need a lot of cold cranking amps to turn your motor over. And even though it's only a single cylinder, some might think it might not be a big deal, and then it's also low compression, so that makes it easier to turn over. But you gotta remember, like Ducatis and KTM's, whether it's RC8s or any of these big bore V-twin motors, and especially the European ones, because they have high compression motors, it takes a lot of energy to get that motor to turn over and crank over that large amount of volume and compression. So now I'm gonna start my other bike here, my MV, because this is a 4-cylinder, it's 1000cc capacity, but it's a motor that has lots of high compression. So we're gonna see how this battery does with this. Hopefully will, since this is what I bought it for. In comparison, this is the stock battery for the F4 compared. So height-wise, it's pretty much the same, pretty close. Width-wise, this way, it's obviously very narrow, slightly wider if you were to stick it that way. And then I'll do a little video later, and maybe to compare weight. Forgot to do that with the other battery. But something about these batteries is your gel packs, you can only mount them like this, just on the side, or horizontal, straight up as normal. Lead acid you can only do straight up. You can't put it on its side or anything because of the acid, and once you've topped it up, any of the water but the acid in there will spill out. With these batteries, you can orientate them any way you want. You can do them upside down and yada yada yada. So for some of you guys, like, I haven't worked on Ducatis, but know people who've had them, worked on them, and those things get stuck in the weirdest places, and so sometimes you have to have them placed in a different position. So these batteries don't care. Lithium-ion batteries don't care how you have them mounted, placed, or whatnot. So you can mount them any orientation. Just do a little bit of the extra work that you should do to just add some foam or insulation around, just to help with the vibrations, because no battery out there in general likes to deal with vibrations. So that wraps up that bit. The only thing that I can say offhand when I did originally open the box and looked at this battery is the positive, because so many of the batteries, the leads that you get and come with them, they have the typical mounting selection. So you can mount on the side here or whatnot, but your tab that mounts onto here fits in such a way that when they have that rubber insulator and protector for your positive side, because you don't want it to arc out, it's not a big deal. With this, however, these batteries, I've noticed, or at least this one, you have to take a little time and care whether you put some tape over it or whatnot, or make yourself a little insulator. But that's something I noticed that I will have to do with this bike here. So that's the only negative thing that I've come across. And well, for those of you out there, then the whole riding it in the cold or whatnot, you're not being able to use this battery in the cold, that's another negative. But with the bike that I'm going to be using this with, it doesn't matter for me. And this one, like I said, I don't think with some of the accessories that I have on currently or will have on later, that I should be using this battery. I should get a proper replacement from Antigravity batteries for this. So that sums all this up. Hope it was helpful and knowledgeable. Thank you guys for watching.